Hi everybody, welcome back to the workshop. Today I'm going to show you some of the upgrades I've made to my Sears Craftsman Contractor table saw. And I'm also going to do my own hot dog test with the saw. And it's going to be similar to that other company. Can't think of the name of it. I just cannot remember the name of that company. Anyway, I'm going to do my own hot dog test, so stick around and we'll see what happens. My table saw used to be on stationary metal legs just like these, and I couldn't roll it around or anything, and they were kind of awkward. So the first thing I did was I built a cabinet with wheels that I can roll the table saw around on. And that turned out pretty good. I had to make it kind of L-shaped in order for the motor to hang down, because it hangs down a little bit lower than the cabinet of the saw. But it works out pretty well. On the back side of the cabinet, it's got a door, and you just open it up, and it's got extra storage in there. I've got some things like some jigs and my dado blades and some extra parts to the table saw, like extra fence part and also the blade guard. The front side of the cabinet has a door as well, and if you open that up, you'll see down below the storage from the back side comes all the way through the bottom, and that's for those long fence pieces. And I also built a bin that slides in to catch the sawdust coming out of the bottom of the saw, and I find I have to empty this maybe every 1 or 2 months, so it's not that often, but eventually I might do some dust collection in there. Another upgrade I did was replacing the old black belt with one of these red chain link belts. It really cuts down on the vibration, and I highly recommend you do that if you have an old rubber black belt. I also replaced the blade with a Freud blade. This is their combination 50-tooth blade that's good for both cross-cutting and some ripping, and it leaves behind a smooth finish, which saves on some sanding time. This table saw has 2 wings on it, and the wing on the far side I have permanently affixed to the table saw with bolts, and that's so I can use my fence. But on this side, I attach the wing with 2 door hinges, and that allows me to fold it down when I'm not using it, so it saves some space in the shop. If I find I'm going to need some support on the left side of the blade, all I need to do is just lift up the wing, and then I have a bolt that I can just put through one of the regular bolt holes, and that will hold the wing up and support any wood that I have on the left side of the blade. And when I'm done, I can just take the bolt out and let it fold back down. I cleaned up the tabletop using some mineral spirits and a Scotch-Brite pad, and it shined up pretty nicely. When I got it all cleaned, I just coated it with some Johnson paste wax to protect it and make it pretty slick. And I also put that Johnson paste wax on my fence and miter gauge as well, and they slide pretty nicely. Before we use any power tools, let's talk about shop safety. Be sure to read and understand all manuals that come with your power tools, and don't forget to wear these safety glasses. Alright, I'm almost ready to do my hot dog test, but before I do, I want to make sure the blade is at a perfect 90-degree angle with the tabletop. That looks perfect. I do have one safety concern. This is a bun length dog, and even though it is bun length, it's still going to put my fingers a little too close for comfort to that blade. So I need to make a jig. When you use a table saw, sometimes you have to make a jig in order to make it safer to do certain cuts. In this case, for this bun length hot dog, I didn't want my fingers to be too close to the blade. So what I did is I came up with a new jig, and I call it the weenie grr-ripper. And this is what I'm going to use to secure the hot dog while I pass it through the blade. Alright, here's the weenie grr-ripper, and it has a piece of wood down here that rides in the miter slot. So it fits in just like that, and it passes real close to the blade, and you can see I have 2 pieces of wood here that are going to grasp the hot dog as I pass it through the blade. Alright, before I make my cut, I want to make sure to raise the blade tall enough so that it will cut through the entire hot dog. Perfect. Okay, now it's time to install the hot dog into the weenie grr-ripper. So I remove the plate and I insert the hot dog through the holes like so. The weenie grr-ripper will hold the hot dog securely while I pass it through the blade. If you'd like to make your own weenie grr-ripper, I'm going to make available some shop plans with detailed dimensions and drawings. Okay, now is the moment we've all been waiting for. I'm going to turn on the table saw and we're going to cut through this bun-length hot dog using the weenie grr-ripper. Alright, that Freud blade really did a good job slicing through this weenie. You can see I got a pretty clean cut. I did get some tear out on the back. I'm not sure if you can see that. But it might have been a better idea to put the weenie in a bun so that there's something backing up the weenie as it goes through the blade to prevent that tear out. Alright, that pretty much completes this hot dog test. Boy, am I glad I wore these safety glasses. If you don't have one of these weenie grr-rippers, I really suggest you make one. It makes cutting hot dogs so much safer. And now there's just one thing left to do. That was good. You know, I really need to think about getting one of these saws.